everyone. Welcome to Should I Just Quit My Job? A podcast where we talk about reinvention, career change, and everything that happens when you realize something in your life isn't working and you decide to take it into your own hands. I'm Maricela Herrera, which I didn't say at the beginning, but I'm your host. Thanks for joining me. I said career and work and career change when I was talking about the podcast, but I want to clarify that I think this is about more than that. I think this podcast is about reinvention, but it's really about all the messy and complex things that we go through when we stop accepting the story that everyone else has fed us, the story that we're supposed to follow, and we actually decide to question it and say, wait, what is it that I want? This week, I'm talking to Heidi Monika Romer, and she's really awesome. We bonded over our love of books, but also honestly, just because her energy, I just really, really liked her. She has done a ton of things, and Heidi really did take that question of what is it that I want and what is it that I want to do and how is it that I want to live my life now very seriously. She's been in a ton of different roles. Like if we go through her career, and we do during this conversation, she's been everything from a legal secretary to executive assistant. She's been in HR, she's been in executive search, and now she's an entrepreneur. She's launching OLA Books, which I love the concept. It's an independent online bookshop to really celebrate Latino and Caribbean voices. Heidi has a very unique way of seeing things, and I really appreciated that because every time she was telling me about something in her journey in her life, I could see how she was coming into it with such a beginner mindset and such an openness to grow and to ask questions and to learn. The problem, though, when you come in with such an open mindset and such a beginner's view and actually start questioning things, is that you might end up seeing some of the ugly things that we might not want to see. And maybe some of those ugly things that have to do with things we're passionate about or where we are doing our job with the best of intentions and realize, wait, I might be part of the problem. And that happened to Heidi during COVID, which then led her to ask herself that question that I was talking about at the beginning. How do I want to live my life? Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, not when I retire, but right now. And then the harder question, which is, are you prepared to do something about it? Heidi did, and she tells the story in our conversation. The title of this episode comes from a mantra that Heidi has been telling herself since she was 12. You can't beat me. I love the power in that phrase. You can't beat me. And honestly, I think she's right. I don't think she can be beat. This conversation was fun, and I think you're gonna see it in just how we're going back and forth. It was also, as all of these conversations go, it's also something that makes me think. And it did make me question, how do I want to live my life right now? It's hard to not have a clear answer. But I also think it might be because I am living my life in many ways in the way that I want, which is a good thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the conversation, and hopefully it also makes you think a little bit of how you want to live your life. As always, you can reach me at quitmyjobpod@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks again for being here. I'll see you next time. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oof.
I should make like a little montage of everyone's reactions when I ask them that, because it's really good.
So it evolved,
Of
right?
course.
So when I was a little girl, I wanted to be an actress. And then I was in a pretty bad car accident. well, let me phrase, I was hit by a car. I
Oh
wasn't an
my God.
accident. I was hit by a car. And I was like, I want to be a doctor. And then I started watching Law and Order and was like, I want to be a lawyer. And then I was like, I want to be a teacher. And that stuck with me for a while. But then when I, went to college, it took me a very long time to get my degree. They did not offer classes that were at night, right? And I had to work. Already at that time I had my sons. It had to be weekend or after work, and that wasn't the case. If you wanted to be a teacher, it was only offered during the day. So I just went for business because that was really the only degree, at least when I started going to school, that offered classes around like the working professional.
That makes zero sense to me that that was the
Yeah.
case. But wow.
Times have changed, right? Like with online learning and things
Thank
like
God.
that. And I wonder how many different trajectories people would have taken if they would have had the opportunity to learn online or on weekends like they have available now. Mhm.
I see where the first ones came from, right? Like, well, the actress, it's like, I don't know, the thing.
Something
But then
cool. Yeah.
something, yeah, something cool. But then the other two, being hit by a car, medicine, that makes sense. How old were you?
15.
Wow. So yeah,
15.
thank God you're okay.
Thank you.
Get that medicine. Also, I see the three there, right? Like medicine, lawyer, teacher, like doing something of value and to make an impact in the world. It's very
And of service,
right.
right? And of service of others. Yeah, for sure.
But teacher being the one that's stuck, even if that's not what you ended up pursuing, what was it that called you to that?
I had a great teacher in elementary school, Mrs. James, who made all the difference. And she wasn't this fuzzy, warm teacher. This was a teacher who really expected a lot of you. And it was kind of like the first time I think maybe experiencing that in like school setting. And then in junior high, had another great teacher, English teacher. She was a tough cookie too. And I learned quite a bit from her. And I just never like I just remember her. I remember how she looks like. And then in high school, also, I had a great history teacher, and he was speaking about things that you didn't find in the books. And he was talking about things that were happening on the news during our time that we can talk about that were affecting us in real time. And it was just, I don't know, it was like the first time again kind of being exposed to that. And I was like, "Ooh, I think I can do this or I wanna do that."
And I get that some of the teachers were not the, quote unquote, nice teachers or cool teachers. It were the ones that actually made you feel like you can do something and that something is
Yes.
relevant for you.
Yes.
So I've come to have a better appreciation for that now that I'm teaching. It's hard.
So hard. And now that I'm thinking about this, I think this is the first time I've been ever asked this question. And like I'm like talking about like, yeah, why did I want to be a teacher? And my answer is just real it came like nothing to me. Like I remember Miss James, I remember Miss Collins, I remember Mr. Mulqueen. Like I remember their names. All in the Bronx. All in the Bronx.
We're going to have to find and tag them in this episode. I like asking the question of what you wanted to be when you grow up because I feel like we don't think about that. But in many ways, it really does kind of stay. There's something that stays in the back of our mind that just influences where we go.
Yes.
And clearly, you still went and you're still a purpose driven, even if you're in business, you're doing stuff that's purpose driven, that is of service. So tell me a little bit about how you actually going into more of the business world, how that was. You're starting the beginning of your career. We're going to go through a little bit and a little bit.
Okay, okay. So when I was young, many moons ago, I went to Catherine Gibbs School, and that was like a secretary school in New York City back in the day. So either you know or you don't. If you know, you know. I never forget. So I was 18. I already had my son, and I went to this open house, and I went right up to the table, and they offered like medical, legal, and I think it was just like general, right? And they're like trying to talk to me, like, oh, welcome. Thank you for coming. I was like, what makes the most money? And I go, and what's guaranteed a job? And they said legal. I was like, sign me up. So actually, I hated it. It was I was a legal secretary. That was like my first job, my first real job in the city. Did
Why
not
did you
like it.
hate it?
All of it, everything. But at the same time, I have to say, working in a law firm, at that time, it really set the standard for my work ethic, what was deemed professionalism at that time, how you present to work, how you show up for work. I think that's like where my editing skills came in and things like that. I always say I'm grateful for the lessons. I really am. But I did not like working for attorneys. I didn't like typing. It was just like you clock in, you do the work, you clock out. And I just was like, this is not what I want to do.
I,
So
yeah, just from the little bit I've talked to you before now, it's like I don't think that you have that. You don't have the vibe of gonna go do the thing and then walk out, and you know, that's my that's that part of life.
and let me be clear, you need those type of people, right? Like
Of
you
course.
need them. Like we need you, we need you. That it was not Heidi.
Important to know that though, too. It's valuable, but it is not me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a place for everyone. And it is those roles that are behind the scenes that are
Mhm.
so critical to moving an organization forward. Yeah, but for me, no. And then I don't even know how this happened. I was like a dental assistant for like a hot second. I didn't like that either. I thought it was gross. Like this is me like a teenager. I was like, this is for the birds. Didn't like that. Went then for my associate's degree. Funny story. I really thought in my mind, and maybe this is the actress in me creating scenes in my mind. I thought you can go to school and get an associate's, and then you're going to be a CEO. I just thought that's how it was. Lo and behold, that is not how it happened. That is not how it works out. So went back to school. It took like 10 years to get my bachelor's because I just had to go to school when I was able to go to school. But during those times, I worked in tech as an executive assistant. I worked in government, private sector. So it morphed into being an executive assistant in the C-suite for a long time. And that was pretty good. That was pretty good because when you're working with C-suite, it's not really administrative work. You're working on projects, you're meeting people, like you're with the C-suite. So that was good. But then I was like, nope, I want more. I want something different. And I started working with employees and HR and building programs. And that was, I would say, the biggest turning point because for this particular company, there were like multi generations working. It was manufacturing, and I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, you got like kids and their moms working here. And I'm like, okay, what are the benefits? Okay, medical and dental. Like, what else are you giving them? They're giving you your all. What else are you giving them? And that really is what kind of opened the door for, well, what programs do we need? How do we improve their quality of life? How do we make things better? And I didn't know at the time that was wellness, that was like a whole thing I didn't know, right? Loved it. And then I started working with a lot of nonprofits at the time because I was bringing services to the facility. I left private sector to join nonprofit sector. Big awakening. Like these nonprofits don't have money. Like, I don't know how to say that any nicer. Like, they need funding, and you are not going to be able to do everything that you want to do just because the money isn't there. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then I don't know how it happened. Again, it morphed into community health and social determinants of health. And I didn't even know those were the terms of the work that I was doing at the time. I just know I'm in a community. I was like, why does it look like this? Where are the services? Where's the bus stop? Where do the kids play? Where do seniors go? Like I couldn't understand it. And luckily I'm working for this global community health organization, and they're like, okay, what's the vision? What's the strategy? And how do we help our patients? And how do we help our communities? And how do we help our employees? That I loved, like, loved it. And I was there for a while. And then COVID happened. And COVID, back then I used to be like, oh, it broke my soul. It broke my spirit. But now if I try to reframe it, I'm like, wow, it really, it was a turning point and made me realize I want to live my life a little differently. And then I left the health field and joined a talent strategy firm, which I'm with now, and then also trying entrepreneurship for the first time right now, too. So lots of pivots, lots of detours, tons of sectors, different states, different cities, figuring it out along the way.
I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. I love it when I see, and I talked to someone else earlier today, that how like their curiosity kind of led them from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yep.
It feels like you are learning what you don't like
Mm,
as you're going, a lot of it,
yes.
but also that you're coming into places with like fresh eyes and very clearly saying, I don't know. Like when you said about the community health, like I didn't know what this was. Or
Hmm.
wellness in a company, in the manufacturing company. Like I didn't know what this was. And I think that that gives you such a good undervalued and underrated perspective when you come into something with such fresh eyes.
I like that. Thank.
Especially because I get that feeling that you're not afraid to say like I don't know.
No, no.
And that's where things can get interesting.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to ask the questions. I truly am seeking to understand. There's always a way to work through something. And if I'm not sure, let's figure it out. I can at least speak specifically when in the community health piece, like working so closely with patients. I did take that probably the most serious in terms of like we have to get this right because this, someone's life depends on this, right? Someone's like quality of life depends on this. Someone's health depends on this. So it was a little more like, no, 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 we have to work together. Like, no, we are a team. Yes, let's get this right. From what you were saying, like, yeah, I think you're right.
I also love that you were like nonprofits, they don't have money. And it's true. And a lot of people romanticize going into nonprofit work and romanticize going into this type of jobs. And you should know it's rough.
It's so rough. I was like, what do you mean volunteer run organization? I was like, wait, what do you mean the board is volunteer run? Like it was different. I will also say I met some of the most wonderful people who really are there for the right reasons and who really want to be part of the good work and really want to be solutions focused. It wasn't a savior mentality. It really was, I see a need in my community, this is how I feel like I can be part of it. So there was many wonderful moments, but in the beginning, just not knowing, I was like, oh my God, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about COVID and your turning point at that moment in two ways. One, because the reframe that you did, and I wrote it down, broke my soul. And then I had a little arrow that says it was a turning point, because that's a
Mm,
big reframe.
mm-hmm.
And that's not easy to do. A lot of the times we get stuck in this is the shitty thing that's happening.
Mm,
And either that I'm going through or that's happening to me, which is mostly
mm.
where we can cycle, right? And so I want to first understand what you mean when it broke your soul. And then I want to
Yeah.
understand how you were you able to make that reframe.
Definitely. So during COVID, the organization I work with, I really got to say that their leadership at that moment, when I think about it, I'm still inspired to this day because at that moment when the world changed, I mean, overnight, I remember the CEO at the time. I'll even say his name because he's Myron Glick, and he's the founder of the organization, Jericho Road Community Health Center. That was the name of the organization. And he was like, my priority is to keep the team safe, to help our community, to clearly communicate, and to keep our jobs. He really was kind of the guiding light during that time. And while so many organizations were retreating, for whatever reason, they didn't know, fear, all these things happening, we went full steam ahead. And they had experience with Ebola breakouts in Africa because they had clinics over there as well. So while some of our big hospital systems were like, what do we do? They were putting tents up, putting precaution, like we were doing it, right? And I don't even think that's talked enough about how well that organization stepped forward. So it felt like for 2 years, nonstop working in various ways, right? And 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 the reason I'm giving you context, because like I'm trying to paint the picture for this community, right? You know, we work specifically in the New American and the asylum seeking community. So like our staff, who were a lot, they were refugees at one time, came to this country at, you know, and our leaders in their communities, you know, where we were, right, in New York. And they were knocking on doors, making sure people had their medicine, making sure people had their food. They were, you know, really stepping up in ways that like, wow, you know, and everybody in some way, we were all, you know, full steam ahead. So people died, people that were already struggling, it was now to the 10th power, right? Everything was escalated. Whatever was bad, it was worse. It was also, I was just not well at that time. Like just like burnt out, run down, not feeling well, just not healthy at all. And that's one part. Then the other part is I was seeing all the money coming into the community during COVID. I've been vocal about this before. People have different things that they will say, but I had like a moment that I'm like, so much money's coming in here, but why is nothing better? Like nothing.
Mm.
Nothing is better. I almost was like, I was like, wow, poverty is big business.
Wow. Oh.
And it hit me because here I am, think I'm part of the good work, right? And I'm not talking about Jericho Road. I'm talking about the leadership. I'm talking about our government leaders, like all of them, right?
The whole
And
system.
the whole system, exactly, the system. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, I'm not part of the good work. I'm part of this fucked up system, you know? And I go, I don't want to be part of this. That was actually the moment I was like, wow, I don't want to do this no more, right? It wasn't even my bad health. It wasn't even seeing people. It was all part of it, right? But it was that moment because I have to believe in the work, right? It was really like an aha moment. And I'm like, okay, Heidi, how do you want to live your life right now? You know? And then immediately, right? I'm like, okay, when I retire, and I'm like, no. I'm like, right now. I said, because everything you've seen, you be fooling yourself if you think you're going to wait until you retire to be able to do all these things that you've been dreaming of doing. You are kidding yourself. I go, you're tired now. You think you're not going to be tired at 65, right? I go, how do you want to live your life right now? And I'm like, okay, not here. And I don't want to be cold anymore. I want to go to Florida. That was always the plan. How do you accelerate the plan? I left my job on good terms, very good terms. I still speak to everybody, not everybody, but so many people at that organization that I care for. And I packed my car. I left my sons, who are grown, very grown, in an apartment, fully furnished. They had jobs. I made sure they had what they needed. I had money, thank God, on the side for contracts that I was part of. I was doing consulting. I packed my car and I drove to Florida without a job, but I had faith, right? Came down here. It was not easy. It was not easy being away from my sons for the first time in my life, right? It was not easy being completely alone. During those hard moments, I go, you better stop it. I go, because you got what you asked for. You wanted to move to Florida, you're here. You you're living in the place that you used to dream about. Figure it out. This is the cakewalk compared to what you just were in. So I said that for a long time. Oh my God, COVID broke me, broke me, broke me, broke me. Recently is when I said, no, 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 no. That was like the catalyst for change for you, right? I don't want to say I'm thankful for COVID. Like I don't think anybody will ever say that. But I'll tell you what, I'm very thankful to be alive. I'm very thankful for this life. I'm very thankful for my life. I'm thankful for all the lessons, good or bad. And I'm thankful for being able to like stop myself, ask myself the right questions, you know, step into it fully and then and to do it.
That's really amazing that you were able to ask yourself the hard question, answer honestly, and move yourself to the present in a way that's very hard. I feel like we're always living in the past, either in
Yeah.
regrets or like, what did I do or why, or in I'm planning mode. which is, I'm planning to do this in a year or in 2 years or whatever. And to be able to ask, what do I want right now? What do I want my life to look like in this moment? It is often overlooked. If I ask myself, how do I want to live right now? Immediately, I can think whatever it is. And I just thought, like, oh, yeah, I would like to live in somewhere where it's sunny all the time. My dream is to eventually live at the beach. And like, I just said that, and it's like, eventually, right?
Mm,
It always immediately goes into future mode. So good
mm.
for you.
Thank you.
And good for you for
It's
bringing it back.
it's a different like words matter, right? And it's I don't know if it's a woman thing because we just have so many things going on at one time, right? Or maybe it's just a human thing, but yeah, like how do you want to live your life right now? It's just very different than what you said. Then, how do you when you want to get there? And I would just say, like, I knew I didn't want, there's nothing wrong with wanting like extravagance, right?
Right.
And find things, nothing wrong with that. But for me, even now, like I'm pretty chill, like I'm like, you don't need nothing extravagant, like, but what is it that you want? And it's so funny. My battle is, what do I really want and what do I think I'm supposed to do? Like, right?
Yeah.
So,
What is
right?
it that I'm supposed to want?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm,
As I heard you talking about the organization you were working at, you're saying, they're doing all this, we were doing all this good work, we were doing all these things. And it is so sad to hold that we were doing these good things, but also there's a big problem and and it's, I'm kind of part of the problem, or we are part of the problem,
mm,
and holding both at the same time. Yeah, it's really hard. And the system is problematic. Like, there is a problematic thing, and it's not going to be easy to solve. And
no,
yeah, it's sad. Like,
it
I
is
don't have
sad.
much more.
No, I know, I get it. And I don't even know where I got that from. Like, poverty is big business, but just, at that, even, I mean, even now, and I know, that's not the only place that goes through that, but I was like, nope, no, that it was no longer the place that I needed to be. I needed to be somewhere else, and I'm still figuring that out too.
You've gone from manufacturing, kind of corporate, to, well, first you like explored all the industries apparently in
Yeah,
the
I
beginning,
did quite a bit. Yeah.
and then kind of more corporate, then more nonprofit, then this other thing, then like in healthcare, and now again to the corporate world. And knowing why you made that change, how has it been readapting?
I think it's all I know. I've never been someone that's ever been like, oh, this is so hard. What am I gonna do? It was, okay, what am I doing now? Okay, this isn't working. Okay, what am I doing? Like, next, next. Really, and I don't know how different it would have been if I would have allowed myself to really think about, well, don't let the job choose you. You choose the job, maybe, right? I don't know.
Do you feel like that's what happened? The job chose you?
I think so, and I'm thankful for it. I don't think I would have ever looked for this space. Because executive recruiting, yeah, I've never done that. And that is kind of a niche, but the way it was presented to me, it was, we are for profit, but we
Right.
work with nonprofit organizations,
Mm.
and we're placing leaders to lead organizations and communities we care about. I could get behind that 1,000,000%, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna give this a try, but I would have not, like, it wouldn't have been my go-to to kind of look for an opportunity in this particular space, But adapting, and I don't know, at least for me, I do not have the luxury to not know what to do,
Mhm.
to be undecided, right? Like, even while I'm figuring out, I still got to do something.
Yeah. Now, as you tell me, like, the type of search that it is, it makes so much sense just with your background. Even for the fact that you were an executive assistant for, like, high level leaders,
Mm-hmm.
plus your nonprofit work, like, it just makes sense. But tell me a little bit about what you're doing. First off, how do you even do it? But like on the side also with your business.
So the job that I have now It is the first time, and I've been working forever, okay? Like my whole life. This is the first time I've had one job at one time, not multiple jobs. And it really allowed me to kind of think about what, again, like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do right now? Where do I want to spend my time right now? And before, because now that I'm thinking about it, all my jobs, I always did something on the side. Maybe it was working in a store on the weekends. Maybe it was like typing reports for extra money or something, right? And then, you know, as I elevated in my career, the side hustle was elevated. So then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm consulting now, right? I have these contracts now. Then again, elevated again a little bit. Okay, you're a managing director now. I'm like, oh, I want to start a business. I want to start my own business. And yeah, I'm working on OLA Books right now.
Tell the listeners about OLA Books because I think it's really cool. I also know before going into that, because part of it has to do with your journey as an author, right?
Yeah.
Or telling your story and telling stories. So can you talk a little bit about how that first opportunity came about and brought you to OLA Books? And also,
Yes.
congrats, because I do remember you telling me that it was the first time you actually were like, oh, I can have one job, so now I can do this other, like what else can I do? Which is a very different feeling, I think.
It is a very different feeling, very different feeling. It's exciting, you
Hmm.
know? So I've always loved books. Always been someone that wrote in my journal, always looked for affirmations, always loved quotes, just since I was a little girl. And actually it was a friend that pointed out to me. Yeah, she pointed out to me, she goes, even when you were a young girl going through some pretty difficult situations, it was books, quotes, something I read that I would say to myself that pushed me through, that always helped me to get through, right? And love to write, love words, love the power in words. Like when someone's like, "Oh, words don't matter." Yes, they do, right? You hear a song and it has an emotion in you. Those are words, right? You see, you're see a movie and it moves you. Those are words. So like words are everything, right? So fast forward, an opportunity came available to be part of an anthology. And I was like, what is that? Like what's an anthology? And it is through Latinas 100. And I recommend to definitely check it out and check out what Adriana Rosales is doing, because her goal is to publish 1 million Latino authors. And I'm like, damn, right? So it's 1,000-word essay. It took me, it took me forever to think about, but one sitting to write it. Okay. And I cried those ugly tears when I wrote it, because I said, no, if I'm going to write, I'm going to write it. Like if I'm going to share something with the world, it's really going to be from me. And it was a snippet, right? And I like, even when I think about it, I'm like, so that was like my first story. So then a second opportunity came. And United Latinas, I love this organization. And again, to people who are checking this out, they are the real deal. And I love what they do. And they also have an anthology opportunity as well. And this time it was a chapter. And I go, okay, I'm gonna kind of do a continuation of that one story from that other anthology. And I'm gonna talk about things that I just don't talk about enough, right? So like I'm German and Puerto Rican, but both my father and mother weren't born on the mainland. I know PR's part of the US, but they
Very
came
different.
here as teenagers, and that story, and living in between the Bronx and Miami my whole life, and only knowing culture, only knowing, people coming together, and music and food and language and customs, and like I love it, right? You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm gonna write a little bit about that, and my grandmother, it was so funny, on the German side, who was the influential person in my life, and my mother. So I wrote my chapter, and as I'm writing the chapter, I start looking at some data and information, like our books and like what we're doing, and it's like single digits. It's like 6% of Latinos are published, and I was like, what the, why, you know? And I said, okay, what can I do about it? And I sat with that for a little bit. And then I have a friend, and she has a bookstore, and it's for Black culture, Black books, Black stories, Black excellence, right? And I go, that's what I gotta do. So she was gracious enough to talk to me. And the name of her bookstore is Second Chapter Bookstore.
Oh, I
And it's
love that.
actually her and her mother. Yep, that's their bookstore. And I said, I'm gonna do it for me, right? For us. And then I said, okay, it's gonna be for Latino culture. And then I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm like, you have to include the Caribbean. I go, because people don't talk enough about people from Bahamas and Jamaica and the islands and DR and Haiti, right? So it's OLA Books, and it's a celebration of Latino and Caribbean stories and voices. And the reason I included voices is because, like, even people like you, Maricela, like, you're a voice for the community, right? Like, I would want to highlight you. I know people that are illustrators, right? They're not authors, they're illustrators. I want to highlight them, right? So is really to celebrate us and our culture and our community. And I want to also be, when I say us, I hope this doesn't like get ding me. A lot of people, right? A lot of people, when they look at, Latin and Hispanics, it's like this one bucket,
Yeah.
right? All of us in one bucket. We are different. It is different, beautifully different. But if you're gonna lump us like that, right? I'm gonna celebrate us
Yeah.
like that. So it's all of us, you know?
But I think that the way you're saying this, and as you're telling how it came up, and including Caribbean voices, the way you're talking about it is through stories that will be different because we are different, and different not just in our kind of culture within the culture, but also because of our experiences. So I don't know, it's like lumping, but not really, because you're celebrating each individual
Yes.
voice. So
Yes.
no,
I will agree. I will agree.
like this,
Yeah, you said it better.
it makes me think of this mosaic, basically. Like all the
I
tiny
love
little
that.
pieces coming together
Yes.
to form this beautiful thing.
Yes. And it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And our stories are beautiful. And I want all our books, really, like, I'm starting it as the online bookstore, right? Because I want it. There's so many stories that I still don't even know, right?
Mhm.
And when I started writing, and I have books all over. Anywhere you look in my house, I have piles of books. I love it. I feel like I'm in my own little library, right? And when I realized how little of my books were published by Latinos, and I said, oh, no, 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 no. So that was also part of my why of why Ola Books is so important to me. It is like when I think about it, and yeah, I think about what it could be and how it can be a resource for people. I'm very excited about this would be like the book, the store is like the vehicle, right? Making sure that people know about our books and our literature, right? But it really is building community.
Mhm.
It really is bringing us together to celebrate our stories. They're worth celebrating. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to be shared. Oh, yeah, more to come on that.
It's very exciting. It's very cool. When you were doing the first 1,000 word piece, you said
Mhm.
it took you forever to think of the topic or narrow the topic. Why do you think that was?
I know why. Man, I like, once you share it, it's you're sharing it.
Mhm.
I did not want to look like a victim,
Mm.
because I'm not. I'm joking, but not joking. Like, I'm not a punk. Like, I didn't want to look like a victim. And it was like really sharing like a real part of me. It really was. And then it was like, okay, once it's out there. So I was my blocker
Mhm.
for, like, do I really talk about this? Am I ready to talk about this? I had no idea. I could have not imagined what a healing experience that was for me, writing those few lines.
What was it? What was the topic?
The topic was like overcoming obstacles, right? But it was really rooted in, you know how when I was talking to you about I would use like words to get me through things, right?
Mhm.
When I was younger, I used to always say, I like my mantra, it was you can't beat me. You can't beat me. You can't beat me. But like that was to everything. Like if I had a cold, I was like, nope, this cold ain't gonna beat me. Like I mean, it was everything. It applied to people, to things, you know. But that really helped me get through so many things. And then as I got older, it was like, nope, you got it. You know how people are like, you got this, you got this. It was like, no, like what I need is within me. What I need, you know what I mean? So it was. I guess the best way to say it, like how words are important and how words have helped me, and like how I've overcome quite a bit of things at a young age, but quick. It was like quick stuff because it's only 1,000 words, and I still will never go into details. You know, I don't think that's something I will ever do. But you know, you know, if you read, you know, you know.
Well, I'm glad you.
No, thank you. And I gotta give another. I want to always give shout outs. This woman, she's an author and Malta Nino, and I went to the Lean in Latinas conference last year, and she was the keynote. And I'm telling you, and that helped me be like, just write it. You know, she was like, when you tell your story, you heal yourself, but when you share your story, you heal others. Right?
Moment of pause. Yes. Wow. Yeah, you told me that when we talked last time, and yeah,
Right? And that made it easy for me to be like, write this.
I believe in the healing power of words. I do believe in that, and the healing power of stories. This is why I do this in a
Mm.
very different format. Good. And then it was probably easier, not easier, but less uncomfortable, maybe, to write the chapter.
Yes, 1,000,000%. Because you think about, well, maybe if what I'm saying can help somebody,
Yeah.
or maybe if someone sees if I could do it, you're able to do it, right? And I think that without a doubt made it easier for me to write it versus me just, I have to get this story out.
You know, talking to you as you're telling me what that meant and how what was blocking you, I'll tell you this, and I'll probably leave this in the episode, but as we're talking, I do these episodes that are shorter, that are just me talking about like whatever's on my mind and anything. And I have one on the drafts that I'm supposed to release in a couple of weeks. And I keep doubting it because I don't want to seem like I'm putting myself as a victim, or I don't want to seem not even victim. Victim is not the right word, but I don't want to seem like I am whining. If that
Mm.
makes sense.
Okay.
And the truth is, putting it out there just will be good for me and probably help someone else who's in that same place. I don't know. It's true. We can be our main blockers because of how we believe someone else will see us, but
Yes.
you have no control over that anyway.
No. And I bet you, I am certain that whatever your message is, that moment that you're going to share, without a doubt, that's going to resonate with someone, or that's going to be just what someone needed to hear,
Yeah.
you know, or just what someone needed to hear to be like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whatever the emotion is that like you're hoping to kind of get from that, I would say, yeah, think about it in that way. Like who needs to hear your message, you know, in your way, and the only not only to hear your message, but only in a way that you can deliver it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. I actually
So,
have a note about that and something I want to write about that because it's true. I was thinking that today. And we see all these messages that are very similar, but sometimes it limits me from doing what I don't know. If I see a post on whatever it is, and I had been thinking about doing something on the same topic, I'm like, well, why? Why would I do it if it's out there already?
mm-mm.
Different voices.
Yes.
So
I'll be looking for that, Maricela. I'm be like, is this the one you were referring to?
When you hear me whining, you're gonna be like, yeah, that was it. I love that you're doing OLA Books because it doesn't, not because of only because of the what it is and what it means, but because I can see, and I saw this when we talked last time, it is very important to you. And it's
Yes.
coming from a place not of, there's this aspect of I teach entrepreneurship and what I tell the students all the time is like, do something that you're really gonna care about because
Mm,
you're going to be doing this for a long time and you're going to be putting
mm-hmm,
your all into it
mm-hmm,
and do it for a problem that you want to solve, not because
mm,
you just want to make money, because
mm.
it's going to be different the way you approach it. And I can see both of those in the way you're doing these. And it's just
Thank you.
really nice to see.
Thank you. I'm so excited. There's gonna be like these events and I hope you're gonna come to them and
Absolutely.
but it's yeah, it's community, it's sharing, it's gonna be learning, it's gonna be loving, all that. And you can have a business.
Mhm.
I really believe you can have a business that is kind and you can do well, right? You know,
100%.
so yeah,
And going back to the poverty is big
it's
business
big business.
and the aspects of nonprofits not having business. See, I, as someone who worked for years in a social enterprise, like I do believe in that model. You can do well and do good,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and it doesn't need to be one or the other.
No, it doesn't need to be one or the other. Yeah.
You were giving shout out to others, and I just want you to know that I wrote at the top of the page. I always have a page for my guest, for each guest, and I wrote elevating others because you have given shout outs to so many people, and it is lovely to see. And the other person who I recorded with this week that I felt did that was another Latina. And
Mm,
just saying, just
see?
saying.
Just saying, y'all. Yeah. Yes.
What's your favorite quote? I couldn't help myself because you mentioned quotes and words.
Yes. Oh my God. I will have to think because that's, I'm not going to be funny, right? Like, there's so many quotes,
Right.
but I have to tell you, and this is a Heidi quote because it is without a doubt, it got me through so much. And it was, you can't beat me.
I love it.
And when I think about that, and I think about those moments, I was like my own little hype person. I was like, my own little hype person, but I had to be that way. Let's just say that quote for me is what just got me through many moments. So I will have to say that's my favorite quote. And that is something I've been saying since I was 12 years old.
Wow. More than a quote, it's kind of your mantra, you know?
It was for a very, very long time until recently. And the in the story that I have with Latinas 100, I kind of like said that I'm like everything I need lies within me. And I joked, I go, it's an elevated you can't beat me, right?
Mature, you can't beat me.
I love that's true. I'm sure you can't beat me. Um, but yeah, I will have to go with that one.
Um, so I have two questions. One of them is the one I ask always at the end.
Okay.
Ask that first. And then the other is one that I stole from another podcast I was on recently,
Okay. Borrowed.
borrowed, that I was inspired by another podcast I was on. And shout out to Dusty, who was the person who interviewed me for his podcast because it's actually really cool. But
Nice.
his question, I feel for you, is actually really perfect. And I can tell you my answer afterwards. But the first question is I always ask my guests if you could go back, and I always choose a moment in your journey, what would you tell yourself? And I think for you, if you could go back to that point where you were feeling like COVID had broken your soul, that you were
Mm.
disillusioned with the system, what would you tell yourself?
For COVID.
For your moment of life, I guess, because you were going through, that was when you decided to change, but.
Yeah. So I gotta tell you something. And I just thought about this when you asked this question. So now I'm like, holy crap. As as bad as COVID was, that still was not the hardest moment in my life. So if I were really to think about if I can go back to kind of a defining moment in my life
Hmm.
and wish I could have gone back, it would have been in high school. And I wish I would have told, and I say this to youth now all the time. I wish I would have been able to tell myself, this isn't the end of anything, but the beginning of everything.
Oh, I love that.
Because high school felt like the end of so much. And I really had no idea what was in store. I had a son already. Like it was a challenging time, you know? And I think that was probably the beginning of kind of everything, right?
I love that.
I hope that's okay to
No,
say that.
absolutely. I love that. Thank you for saying that and for going to that place, like that state of mind of where actually would be the moment where you would want to go back and tell yourself something.
Yeah, for
Think
sure.
about that all the time, what I would tell little me. This is not the question that I was going to ask, which I still will, but have you thought about actually teaching?
I have. And
I think you would be a really great teacher.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I um I actually am looking at going back for like my master's because all the programs I look at when I think of teaching, you at least need your master's.
Yeah.
So I'm going, here's another moment, right, where it's like what I want to do and what I think what I'm supposed to do.
Hmm.
So I think what I'm supposed to do is just get the master's in marketing because it's quick. I know it a little. I will learn, but I think that'll open doors.
Hmm.
But what I want to do, I would love to get a master's in Caribbean and Latino studies, right? And
Do that.
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm like, wow, like, with the
Hmm.
books, with the events that I'm trying, to be able to do. And then now it's gonna be, and this is like emotion, right? This is like my spirit guiding me, my heart guiding me. But then I'm like, wow, then to have the education piece to be like, actually, by the way, let me make sure you know the history. Let me make sure you know why we're doing this. I'm like, oh, that could be something. But it will take a little longer because the way the classes are. But I all that to say, I'd love to teach. And then even if I had like an option or something, again, what I'd want to do versus what I think I should do. I think part of me, oh, like, do you talk about this in the business
Hmm.
setting? Do you talk about like the cultural relevance in business, right? Is that a thing? Or I'm like, no, I want to be with those high school kids and these kids in, college. And it's like, stop right now. You don't have to have it all figured out,
That's one. And
right?
two, you don't have to choose.
Mm, Lord, that's it. Ooh, no or, just and, right?
I
Okay.
mean, you told me that you've done many, many things at the same time all the time. And I could,
Yeah.
this is the brander in me. I have a big brand brain, but I'm like, I could see how all of these things fit together to like form this perfect little like story.
Do you? Can we talk
Yes, we could
soon?
talk.
Okay. Can we talk more?
Yes, 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 we can. Okay. And then now I'm going to actually ask that question that I was alluding to, which is, so I was in this podcast and apparently he sent me questions that he asks at the end, that's like a rapid fire, which I did not read because I just show up as myself. And when he asked me, what book should everyone read? What
God,
book do you
out
think everyone should read?
The Alchemist.
I love that book. And actually, it's the reason I made that face is because that's the book he said he would answer when, if he,
Really?
yeah. Because the book I said, actually, I don't know if that's what he said, but he said the book I answered was a fable, and he started talking about The Alchemist. That's one of the books that he reads all the time.
Let me tell you, depending on where you are in your life, it'll have a different meaning for you. You know, I love this book and so many quotes. I almost went to a quote in this book. I'm like, no, the quote that really like helped me was the one I shared with you. I would absolutely recommend that book. I don't know if this is something that um is like even recommended for kids like in school. I think high school they'll get it, you know. Let me not, you never know, like middle school could understand it too, but yeah, that would be my book hands down.
I should read it again. I read it years ago, so actually I think it would be a good reread.
Do it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hit you different, and you're gonna be like the quotes will hit you different, the meanings are gonna hit different, you know, and it's gonna be the same exact book you read. But because of where you are in your life, it's gonna have a different impact on you. Yes.
Well, the book I said when I blanked was The Little
Yeah.
Prince,
Okay.
but also because I'm obsessed, as you will probably see
Wait, I
with
don't
my
see it.
tattoo.
Okay. I love it. I love tattoos when people have like a story behind it.
It's my favorite
You
book.
know, it's all cool when they're like, "Oh, I saw it. You know, I saw it, and like I wanted the image." But when there's like a meaning for why you got the tattoo, I love that. That's imprinted on you forever.
Yeah, this is my favorite book, and also a lot of people say that the asteroid is like based in El Salvador because it has all these volcanoes. So it also feels like me going from home. Long story.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
You could write about
I
that
could.
in Latinas
I
100.
could actually.
Be part of that amazing project. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Well,
Just saying.
thank you so much, Heidi. This was so much fun. It went by so
Thank
fast.
you. So fast. Like what the happened? It was thank you for having me and for really just making it very easy to kind of talk from the heart to you. So I like really like appreciate that. This was lovely.
Oh, thank you. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if it made you think, feel something, or yell same out loud, leave a quick rating or review. It really helps. If you didn't like it, just pretend this never happened. You can also subscribe on Substack for updates and extras. I'd love to hear from you. Come say hi on Instagram at quitmyjobpod or email me at quitmyjobpod@gmail.com. See you next time.